Black magic is a threat to the Brown family. Robyn Brown is not the same normal person she used to be. She has gained a strange power over time. Once Kody Brown is under control, an intangible fear spreads through the whole family. It's hard to believe that Kody isn't the same person he used to be. It's like he's a puppet for Robyn. The family used to follow Kody's orders, but now they do what Robyn says. Robyn is now in charge of everything, from what to eat to where to go to who to chat to. The wives and kids of the rest of the family don't get how they were caught in this awful control trap. But the most shocking part is that Kody recently gave all of the property papers to Robyn one by one, without a second thought. Kody's eyes don't convey any compassion, pity, or reasoning anymore. They just show how much he loves Robyn, no matter how much anyone tries to stop him. People say that Robyn is doing an old spiritual practice and has gotten a strange dark power from it. He has full control of Kody now thanks to this power. He does rituals, says mantras, and worships a mysterious entity in private. Now the Brown family is scared. No one is brave enough to speak up. It feels like there is an unseen darkness about, with Robyn at the center of it. Is this only a spiritual thing, or is there a bigger plot behind it? The Brown house, which used to be a complicated web of shared duty, chaotic harmony, and plural oneness, was now eerily quiet. The rooms were no longer full of whispers. There was no more laughter. The house that used to be cozy suddenly felt cold in a strange way. Robyn Brown was at the center of this change. She was no longer the sad, quiet woman the family used to know. There was something different about her. Something very old and scary. It started out slowly. Robyn started to shut herself off from the world, spending hours alone in the woods behind their Flagstaff house. When others asked her, she would grin coldly and explain she needed clarity from the stars. But what she was really doing out there was not innocent at all. The change in Kody was first noticed by Janelle. One morning, as they were having coffee, he just stared at the wall with a blank look on his face and said something he couldn't understand under his breath. He turned to Janelle with a creepy smile when she asked what was wrong. Robyn says we have to fast today. She says it's time to clean up. Christine, who now lives alone, also noticed something. The youngsters said that their dad's eyes didn't gleam with the same enthusiasm anymore. His movements were like those of a robot. He did what Robyn told him to do like a soldier. He had even stopped calling the other wives unless Robyn said it was okay. One day, Mary went to see Robyn without telling her. She was still holding on to the last bits of family harmony. What she saw made her feel cold all over. She saw Robyn through the breach in the half-closed door. She was surrounded by black candles, old books written in symbols that Mary couldn't read, and a bizarre idol in the middle of a circle painted in salt. Robyn didn't move. She slowly turned, her eyes shining with an unearthly light, and said in a quiet voice, "You weren't invited." That night, Mary started getting scary dreams. She would wake up gasping, as if someone or something was watching her. After that, the property transfers happened. Kody gave Robyn all of his deeds, accounts, and shares without talking to anyone about it. Robyn now owned all of the Coyote Pass land, which had once been a sign of a shared vision. When asked, Kody only answered, "She knows what's best for us now." The kids became scared of their dad. He stopped giving them hugs. He looked at them for a long time, as if he were weighing their spirits. When Gabriel tried to fight him, Kody lost it and got really angry. This was so out of character for him that even Robyn's kid Solomon was scared. Janelle and Christine were worried about how much power Robyn was gaining, so they decided to look into it. They met an old woman living in a cabin in the Arizona forest who said she knew Robyn's great-grandmother. This woman was rumored to have practiced ancient desert witchcraft that mixed Navajo mythology with banned Eastern mysticism. The old woman said, "She's awakened something that should have stayed buried. And now it's eating." The house started to transform as the nights became darker. Shadows moved on their own. Mirrors broke for no reason. The air felt heavy, like it was full of hidden eyes. Animals stopped coming near the property, too. And in the middle of it all was Robyn, calm, strong, and untouchable. Kody, who was now only a shell of his former self, stood behind her like a devoted guard. She owned everything about him, his words, his ideas, and his will. He would sit quietly for hours while Robyn chanted in her secret shrine, calling on gods and powers that had no home in this world. Janelle tried to talk to her one night. "What are you doing to him? For all of us?" Robyn just grinned, caressed Cody's shoulder, and murmured, "He's mine now. As you all shall be, in time." The next day, Janelle was gone. Christine left the state because she was afraid for her life and her children's. Later, she told people in hushed tones that Robyn had sent something after her, a ghost that muttered her name at night and followed her shadow during the day. Mary made one final effort to rescue what was left. She got some of the older kids together to help. Cody stood at the entrance like a guard and declared, "She forbids this," with eyes that showed no love or concern. The family broke up one by one, but the home was still full of whispers, shadows, and creatures that didn't breathe but stayed. No one from the camera team came back. TLC stepped back. The show was done. People say that Robyn travels around the woods at night, barefoot, and talks in tongues. Some people say they saw Cody digging in the dark and burying things that no one should ever find. And the question still plagues the Brown family. Was this ever just about getting married and having a family? Or had something far worse always been waiting? What is hidden behind Robyn's eyes? But the Brown family had been recognized for more than 20 years for their unusual family structure and their extravagant, passionate, and often spectacular weddings. In the realm of polygamy, each wedding was more than just a marriage. It was a sign of love, faith, allegiance, and strength. Cody Brown and his 4 wives, Mary, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn, were the best example of this. But now the family was getting ready for a once-in-a-lifetime event, a year-long series of vow renewal ceremonies and new weddings, one for each wife, to honor their unique path with Cody. Once again, TLC cameras were ready to film the drama, happiness, and tears of what would eventually be called the many weddings of the sister wives family. Mary was the first to get married. Even though she was the first to marry Cody, their relationship had been through a lot of rough times. Mary's journey has been full of loneliness, from being unable to have children to being involved in catfishing controversies. But after years of treatment and soul-searching, she had made up her mind. She wanted to repeat her vows on her own terms. The event took place in a secluded Arizona canyon with a red sky. Mary strolled barefoot in a golden garment with sunflowers on it, which stood for new life. Cody stood there, strangely nervous. Mary had told him earlier, "I don't want this to be a performance. I want it to be real, or not at all." Mary cried a lot when Cody held her hands and said, "You were my first, and I hope you'll be my last in spirit." She grinned with all her heart for the first time in years. Janelle has always been the most sensible of the wives. Her relationship with Cody had grown not from romantic feelings, but from shared ideals like respect, reasoning, and working together. She consented to reaffirm her vows, but only on one condition. No fancy dress, no horse-drawn carriage. "I want to get married in the garden with a barbecue and lawn chairs." That is exactly what she got. Her kids grilled burgers, her daughters arranged wildflowers, and Cody donned a shirt with her favorite motto on the back: "Freedom is not given, it is taken." During the vows, Janelle shocked everyone by crying, "Cody, we don't always agree, but you always let me be my own person. That's love for me." While they danced barefoot under string lights, the others looked on with a new kind of admiration. It wasn't a vow renewal for Christine. It was a goodbye ceremony. She had fallen in love with someone new in Utah after leaving Cody the year before. And now she wanted to end one chapter with grace and start another with happiness. Cody shocked everyone by saying yes. Christine had replied, "Closure is part of love, too." Christine strolled down a path of rose petals with her children around her. She was wearing a blush pink dress. That day, she didn't marry Cody. She married David, her new boyfriend. But when she was feeling sad, she asked Cody to stand next to her and thank him for the years that were. It was the most moving part of the whole series. "We were meant to grow apart," she said softly. "That's how I became who I am now." Robyn's wedding was over the top. She had always been known for being romantic, therefore she wanted to do it again as in a fairy tale. Robyn's wedding had horse-drawn carriages, violin quartets, and a rose gold motif. Kody was there with her, and their kids led the way. But there was a lot of tension in the air. The other spouses didn't want to go, especially because they had felt like Robyn was the favorite for years. But they all went anyway, just to maintain the peace. "I wanted a moment that felt like a dream," Robyn added. "Because love is supposed to be beautiful." Some admirers didn't like how extravagant it was, but others thought it showed how much Robyn needed to connect with others and feel safe emotionally. The family got together for one last celebration after each ceremony, a family unity wedding. Each woman stood next to Kody and promised, not just to him but also to each other, that they would stay together. Christine, who is now married again, expressed her best wishes in a video. Kids presented speeches. There were dances, jokes, and stories that people told. Kody looked at the people who had changed his life and realized that, no matter how bad things had been, this journey had been amazing. He said in his last speech, "I thought marriage was about staying together. But it's really about evolution. And this family has grown together. That's what we leave behind." The weddings were finished, but the effects were still felt. Fans said this was the most dramatic season of Sister Wives so yet. The weddings were not just about love. They were also about heartbreak, healing, forgiveness, and progress. Some of the wives were still with Kody, while others had moved on. But no matter what happened, they were still part of a story that was bigger than them. The Sister Wives family's many weddings turned into more than just a TV show. They became a monument to the intricate, messy, and beautiful essence of love. But the air in Flagstaff's desert had never felt so heavy. The Brown family sat tensely in their cabin as the sun set behind the Arizona mountains. The cabin used to be a symbol of unity, but now it was full of stress. Janelle sat across from Kody and Robyn with her arms crossed. Her expression was blank, but her eyes were full of anger that she was trying to hide. The Brown family had been through a lot of emotional ups and downs in season 19, but tonight's fight would be the greatest one yet. Kody tried to keep the conversation going by slicking back his hair and giving his typical charming smile. He continued softly, "Janelle, this anger isn't helping anyone. I just want to make things better. Peace." Janelle shot back, her voice harsh. "You call what you and Robyn have done to this family peace?" Robyn sat next to Kody and anxiously folded her hands. "That's not fair, Janelle. We didn't hurt the family in any way. We just stayed true." "No," Janelle said as she stood up and started to walk. "You cut yourselves apart from others. You made a universe where just the two of you were important. You didn't pay attention to Christine until she departed. You pulled Mary away till she was no longer there. And now you think I'm just going to go along with it like I don't see the favoritism? As if I haven't seen you change the rules for our family to make things easier for you?" There was a long silence. Not even the cameras were brave enough to get too close. "I made this family with you," Janelle said, her voice breaking. "I gave up my dreams and my freedom for what? To be put on the back burner for the woman who always plays the victim?" Robyn's eyes filled with tears. "I'm not trying to. Stop crying," Janelle yelled. "You always cry when someone tells the truth." Kody also stood up, ready to fight. "You're coming after us. You've changed. You are very mad." "Of course I'm mad," Janelle shouted. "Because I finally saw the light. I stayed because I believed in marriage between more than one person. I had faith in us. But now I see that there isn't a us. You and Robyn are the only ones playing house, and the rest of us are starving for your attention." The silence that came after was so loud. Janelle took a big breath and looked straight into the camera team. "I'm done acting. I'm not the quiet one anymore. I've been with this family for 30 years. I'm picking myself now." Janelle and Christine sat on the back porch of Janelle's leased house in Utah, drinking tea and looking up at the stars. Christine reached out and took her hand. Christine said softly, "You did it. You finally stood up to him." For the first time that day, Janelle smiled. "Yes. And I won't look back." They both laughed, and their laughter was full of anguish, release, and hope. Janelle had launched her own health brand called Desert Strength, which was all about helping women make changes in their lives throughout midlife. Her social media was full of people who supported her, and her boys Garrison and Gabriel were proud of her. Robyn and Cody? They stayed in their own world, still fighting about money and whether or not the rest of the family would ever come back. But Janelle had found her serenity. Not in a house with more than one person. Not with Cody. Not in the rules of being a man. When a woman gets her voice back, she gets her power back. Janelle's adventure has just began. It isn't ended yet. But the Brown family wasn't silent at all last season on Sister Wives. Cody Brown was at the center of one of the most combustible seasons in the show's history, with tensions rising and emotions running high. What happened was a storm of drama, heartache, and harsh realities that undermined the very core of his plural family. It all started on a cold October night when Cody held a family meeting on the patio in Flagstaff. Christine, Janelle, Mary, and Robyn, the spouses, all came together, wrapped in blankets and doubt. Cody, pacing like a general getting ready for battle, told everyone about a new set of rules he wanted them to observe. He said, "These rules are about respect," while holding out a laminated chart. Christine rolled her eyes. Janelle put her arms across her chest. Mary looked down at the ground. Robyn nodded without saying a word. Christine eventually yelled, "You're not a king, Cody. You can't control us like this." Cody's face got hot. "Then I guess I need a new queen." It was so quiet after that it was deafening. In the middle of the season, something startling happened. Cody had changed his will without telling any of the wives, except Robyn. Janelle was furious when she found out. "Did you leave everything to Robyn? Do you see us as just placeholders?" She yelled across the table in the kitchen. Cody said in his defense, "Robyn is the only one who hasn't let me down." That moment broke up the little bit of unity that was left. Cody's texts ceased getting answers from Mary. Christine started making plans to move back to Utah. Janelle hired a lawyer to help her get a divorce. Truly's birthday may have been the hardest time. Christine had organized a small get-together, and Cody had said he would come. But he didn't. Instead, he went to a jeweler's show with Robyn. The candles had already melted by the time he got there, which was hours late. Christine was quite angry. "You always put Robyn first. You told her you wouldn't, but you always do." What did Cody say? "Maybe I'd act like a husband if the rest of you did too." Christine didn't just cry that night. She also packed a bag. Fans have called it the Christmas meltdown, and the family tried to have one last holiday together in a rented cabin in Wyoming. It was supposed to be a time of healing, but it turned into a fight. Janelle tried to talk about the kids' college money. Mary tried to make a toast. Robyn tried to sing a Christmas song. Cody couldn't handle the stress and blew up. "I'm done trying to make everyone happy. There is just one of me." He went out into the snow without a coat and angry, as the women stared in shock from the window. The camera followed him into the dark and caught one last moment. Cody muttering, "Maybe I was never meant to live this life." Cody sat down by himself for his confession in the last episode. "No wives. No breaks," he remarked, with tears in his eyes. "I built this family because I believed in something bigger than myself. But at some point I lost them, and maybe I lost myself too." He stared at the camera for a long time. This could be the end of something, or the start of something new. Christine starts a new life in Utah. Janelle gets her freedom back. Mary looks into a life without Cody. What about Robyn? Cody Brown is now alone and dealing with the results of his own choices. But in Flagstaff, it was a frigid morning in November. The leaves had already fallen, and the wind carried a sharpness that felt almost symbolic, as though nature itself was mourning the death of something vital. Christine stood by the big window of her house, covered in a crocheted shawl that her mother had given her a long time ago. Her eyes, which were typically full of determination, were weighted with doubt. The quiet within the house was louder than any fight. Cody had stayed in a guest room all night. Again. Their talks had become into more like negotiations. Their laughter, which used to be loud and regular, had faded away like footprints in the snow. The gap between Christine and Cody didn't happen overnight. Christine was emotionally spent after years of feeling like no one listened to her, and her needs were put on hold because Robyn was becoming more powerful in the family. She thought back to the early years, when they took road trips, shared ambitions, and raised kids together in a beautiful, chaotic way.
But now?
It felt like everything Cody spoke was mechanical and businesslike. Cody, on the other hand, felt trapped. He said the pandemic, the stress of being in a plural marriage, and Christine's stubborn independence were to blame. But deep down, he knew it wasn't that easy. Christine was different now, or maybe she was finally showing the aspects of herself that she had kept buried for too long. Christine told Cody to sit down on a Sunday afternoon when the kids were at a cousin's house. She had made his favorite herbal tea for him. He saw the motion but didn't say anything. "I can't do this anymore, Cody," she replied in a calm but quiet voice. He looked up and frowned. "Do what?" "This," she remarked, pointing between them. "Living as if we don't know each other. Pretending that this family is still together. Acting like I still have a place in your heart." Cody's body became stiff. "You do have a place, Christine. It's just—"
Things are hard right now.
Christine shook her head. "No, it's not hard. It's clear. I want more, but you don't want to give it to me." There was a long break. The clock in the backdrop sounded like a countdown to their future falling apart. Christine stayed alone with her journal that night, writing through her tears. She had made her decision. She would go back to Utah, where her elder kids were starting their own lives. It was no longer just about Cody. It was about getting back her voice, her authority, and her happiness. When she told the other wives, they all had different reactions. Mary nodded quietly, showing that she understood more than she said. Janelle, one of the spouse's closest friends, hugged her hard and said, "You're brave. Don't listen to anyone else." Robyn grieved, not necessarily for Christine, but because the illusion of unity she had worked so hard to keep was broken. Cody couldn't believe what he saw when Christine packed. A part of him never thought she would do it. He walked about the home with her, helping her one minute and not saying a word the next. Finally, he yelled, "You're breaking up our family." Christine turned around to look at him. "No, Cody. I'm breaking out from a family that hurt me a long time ago." When Christine departed Flagstaff in the morning, snowflakes fell on the road like a sweet goodbye. Truly sat in the back seat, sleepy yet thrilled to visit her new room in Utah. Christine felt serene as she drove away from the life she used to believe in. It wasn't the conclusion of her narrative. It was just the end of a chapter that wasn't helping her anymore. And for Cody, it was the start of a new way of thinking. One that had him face his decisions, his ego, and the frail web that was either holding his family together or tearing it apart. The beginning of the end was also the start of something new. Because sometimes the bravest thing a woman can do is walk away from things that no longer nurtures her spirit. But it was autumn in Flagstaff. The leaves of Coyote Pass, which used to be golden, had turned red, just like the Brown family's angry feelings. The place that was supposed to bring peace and togetherness had instead been the scene of one of the most violent fights in Sister Wives history, which would be remembered as the storm at Coyote Pass. Everyone in the family had come to the house. Cody crossed his arms and clenched his jaw. His 4 wives, Mary, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn, stood in a tense semicircle around him. This wasn't merely a meeting of the family. This was the conference that would decide the future of the family, the farm, and Cody's broken connections. For months, rumors of trouble had been louder. Christine had already decided to go, but no one was ready for how emotional and crazy this meeting would be. Christine was the first to talk, and her voice was steady yet full of pain. "This land was meant to be our legacy, Cody, but it turned into a war zone. I can't be in a family where affection is conditional and loyalty is one-sided." Cody's face turned red. "That's not fair, Christine. While you've been getting ready to leave, I've been trying to keep this family together." Janelle suddenly stepped forward and slammed a map of the Coyote Pass plots onto the bonnet of a truck. "You want to talk about keeping the family together, Cody? For years, you haven't paid attention to us. We've begged you for time, but you've been at Robyn's every night. Robyn, who generally stayed silent during group fights, yelled back with tears in her eyes. That's not right, Janelle. Everyone else pushed him away, so he's solely with me. I didn't want this. Mary spoke next, in a calm yet forceful voice. Robyn, we didn't force him away. He moved away. And we stayed loyal for too long. I stayed even though I felt like I was invisible. The fight got worse. It was hard for cameras to get all the perspectives because voices were overlapping, accusations were flying, and the emotional dam finally broke. Cody blew up. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done being the bad guy when all I wanted to do was help this family. Maybe I should let things break apart if you all think I've failed. Christine looked at him and then at the wives. You don't have to let it fall apart. It's broken already.
We just didn't want to say it.
With that, she turned and walked away again, but this time she didn't glance back. It wasn't just her leaving the family anymore. It was the family falling apart there in front of them on holy ground. Later that night, the camera captured Janelle sitting by the fire pit by herself, thinking, I used to think our family was unbreakable. Now I see that it might have just been a dream we all had. And now we are getting up. Cody was spotted walking back and forth along the border of the property line, mumbling to himself, we were all supposed to grow old here. Robyn even got down during her confession when she said, I didn't want to win. I wanted everyone to win. This fight at Coyote Pass became the most exciting part of Season 17. It wasn't simply about love, land, or marriage. It was about the truth. For the Brown family, the truth hurt more than any divorce could ever hurt. People that watched TLC would watch this show over and over again, picking apart every tear, word, and anguish. There was more than simply drama. It was the end of a dream. Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome to my channel. I'm Sabrina, and I hope your day is going well. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you appreciate the video.